Hi guys, hi guys, hi guys, hi guys. Welcome to your Grade 12 Geography Show on a Thursday. I am Looney, and that's Dave.
How's it,
Dave.
Looney?
I'm
How's it going?
good.
Hello, learners. Hope you're ready for another lesson. Studying hard, not forgetting geography, not only the maths and science. Am I right, Looney?
Yes, that's right.
Sometimes we forget. But let's go on for an interesting lesson.
Okay, so what are we doing for the mindset today?
We're doing urban structure, structure patterns of urban settlements.
Cool.
That's what we'll be looking at today.
All right, Grade 12s, I hope you guys are excited for your show. Just remember to hit us up on Facebook on facebook.com/LearnExtra, and then our Twitter handle is @LearnExtra. And if you want to win yourself this awesome calculator, all you need to do is complete the test yourself section from our notes. Fill in everything you have, you know, and everything, and all the answers and everything, and then all your details. Submit your entry form, and then you'll stand a chance to win this calculator. And remember, guys, entries close tomorrow at 12, so you can watch the show, then relax, get some water, some juice, then after some time, like, oh, test yourself. Then you can enter the competition. So remember to enter this competition if you want to win this awesome calculator. And remember, all the show notes, the videos, and the schedules are available on learn.mindset.co.za. So with that said, our show is proudly brought to you by Macmillan. Dave.
Okay.
Sorry. We have special guests.
That's what I was gonna
Yes.
think, Looney. You forgot to introduce the stars here.
I'm so busy telling all, man. I'm sorry, guys. Don't forget about you and you guys just staring at me there. I'm so sorry. Hi, guys. How are you guys doing?
Okay.
Fine, man.
So introduce yourselves, starting the site.
Hello everyone, my name is Esetimbola from Mondio High School.
Okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Tepu Mukoni from Monjo High School.
Hi everyone, my name is Anele from Monjo High.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I hope you enjoyed the lesson as well. Dave.
Okay, let's get on. It's the structure and patterns of urban settlements. Some of you may have covered it, some of you are still covering it. Okay, let's get going and look at what we're going to cover for today. We're going to discuss the internal structure and patterns, okay, of urban settlements. Yo, Looney, can go straight my lines up.
Yeah.
Impressed. Okay? Discuss land use zones. Okay, we're then going to consider factors influencing the morphological structure of a city. We're going to look at urban profiles, and we're going to discuss various models relating to urban areas. All right? Your challenge question, learners, and I know you're going to do well. Let's read through it quickly. In the past, the policy of apartheid, especially in the Group Areas Act, a little bit of history and geography together, all right, determined how South African cities looked. Recently, this has changed. Right, you know, we went into a democracy, mainly in the middle and higher income areas. We'd like you to explain this change. Think carefully, and I'm sure you'll get the answer. But then let's get on to our content now. All right, the first thing I want to look at is maybe not emphasized so much in the guideline, but nevertheless an important aspect. And this is your street patterns. Now, I'm going to start off with a pattern known as the radial pattern. Now, learners, with the radial pattern, it actually has a center point from which the roads radiate outwards. All right? Very important, it could be a CBD. Okay? Then let's look at another pattern, which is the gridiron or rectangular pattern. All right? Where the roads intersect at 90-degree angles. All right? Let's look at the third pattern here, irregular pattern, where the roads actually go in different directions, if you can look at it here. Doesn't mean this road pattern is ineffective, but it goes around hilly areas. So these three are our different types of patterns that we have. This is an older pattern, generally found in your CBDs or flat area. This also can be your CBD and roads radiate outwards. And this is an irregular pattern, more in scenic areas, hilly areas, where the roads go around it. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to quickly look at each one of them. So we look at the rectangular pattern. Yes, it meets at right angles as I demonstrated to you. It obviously has shorter roads because it's like that, and you can turn into the next area. It's easy to extend because if I want to extend this road, all I do is do that, and I've got it extended. All right? It's easy to find places because it's sort of block-shaped. Buildings are crossed or found along the road, so it's easier to find. Do you all understand also?
Mhm.
I'm happy, I can see you all smiling. All right, disadvantages, because we have all these intersections, learners, we have a lot of robots. You understand? A lot of stopping and starting. All right, so many intersections. It's also time consuming when you use a robot. Red, you stop. Oh, next one turns red, you stop. So it's time consuming. And when you keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping your car all the time, it's also fuel. I got this last one here, it's significant, especially when the guy is hooting behind you. You understand? And you're getting annoyed. And it's a red robot and he's pushing you to go across. It can lead to road rage. The irregular pattern, I said, there's no set pattern. It develops due to relief and it goes around hilly areas. What is good about this one? It has an aesthetic appeal. It's not boring like a gridiron going through a city and you see building after building. You go around hills, etc., which is a nice feeling when you're driving, especially like me. Getting old, I like to see scenic stuff. All right, less traffic congestion because less intersections. Okay? Now the disadvantage is because they are winding roads, you understand, you can get lost. It's not so easy around there. But as geographers, you shouldn't get lost. Am I right? You should know direction. I don't tell you about myself, I get lost. All right, you travel longer distances when you take the winding road. Okay? Let's look at the radial pattern. Remember I said radiating outwards from a point. Here, also less intersections. And because there's less intersections, there's an easier flow. All right? Easier, I'm going to change that to an R. Easier flow of traffic. All right? Also has aesthetic appeal because it's going around areas. And the disadvantage of this one, all right, unplanned growth can create traffic congestion. Because if I have my point here, and I have my roads radiating outwards, you understand? What happens when development happens around this? All these people are going to use this road, which can lead to congestion. In a nutshell, those are our three different patterns. But I know you know more than what I even discussed on the board here. All right, let's go on. Let's look at the next thing that we're supposed to look at here, and that's land use. First of all, what is land use zones? It's the purpose, all right, for what the land is being used, the purpose. Okay, some places may be residential, houses, so it's residential. We get factories, it's industrial. Now, the urban area has quite a few different land uses that we can identify. And I'm sure most of you have identified it already. You say, I know this. All right, let's look at it. The first one is the CBD. What's a CBD?
Central
Central
business.
business. I knew you guys. You're going to talk teacher. And I Tepo here that you said he's also good looking. All right. So CBD, which is your central business district, I put in a picture here. Yeah, you can see it. The high density of buildings, the tall buildings, you understand, which is very clearly seen in a city. Now, we need to look at that it's tall and the density is high. Why would the density be high? Because the land is expensive. Businesses want to be in the CBD. You understand? So, instead of building horizontally and spending a lot of money on your land, you build vertically with your businesses. Okay? So that is your CBD. Now, let me get back here. Okay? Then we've got other business districts that we find, like the OBD, outlying business districts. You know, you've got a Rosebank, which looks like a CBD, but it's on the outskirts. Then you've got your regional shopping centers, like your malls. The bigger ones is the Eastgate, which is regional. Then you also have smaller ones, you understand, in your local areas like Southgate, etc. So you have different business sectors. You even have ones that are found in a line across the main road. And there's your businesses found, like from Renewal, etc., when you're going down to Durban. All right? These things are found along this area so that they find it profitable. When cars are going in, they just need to turn here, and there you have your stop point and have garages, recreation, etc. So there are various land use zones that are associated with this, okay, your CBD. Let's look at the other land use zone, your residential, okay? I'm sure this is yours house. My one I'll show you just now, it's small. All right, so learners, we have a high income residential area. All right, here you notice the buildings are big, the yard space is big, so the density is low, okay? So big houses, large spaces, single dwellings, okay? Now, let's look at the next one. I should have created a little fence here. It's also single dwelling, all right, but a bit smaller. And this is in between the high income and the low income. It's smaller than the other one, all right? Then we come to the low income. This is my house, all right? I'm the poor teacher, okay? The density is high. The buildings are smaller because it's the poorer people of the country. Can you see how close the buildings are? Right. So we have 3 different residential areas there. I always like to include the informal sector because it is a settlement. That's what some of us forget about learners, that it is a settlement. And an informal settlement is actually made up of self-constructed little homes or shelters made up of zinc, as you can see it here, you understand, sometimes even boxes, but it is a settlement. Of course, this is due to poverty, etc., that we have this. So we have different types of things, and you can identify it as you drive around. You see all these different types of settlements in the areas. All right, then we have another land use zone, the industrial area, and you have 2 actually different types of industrial areas. The heavy industrial area, which are your big factories, ESCO, all these things, all car industries, producing these huge things with a lot of pollution. Can you see it there? Then you have, and this is found more on the outskirts of a city, near bulk transport, water supply, flat, cheap land, so they can expand. And then you have your light industries, which is your bakeries, your tailor shops. All right, I think this is a famous baker here. Even bakes better than me. All right, so what you call it is your bakeries, etc. All right, your tailor shop, your printing press, which can be found anywhere because they don't create so much pollution as the heavy industry. Far less pollution. All right, so they can be found in your residential area, right in the CBD. All right, all those areas you will find them. Then we come across the next one, the zone of decay, the transition zone. This zone is found just, there's your CBD here, all right? And around the CBD, you get this transition zone. It's a zone of change. It has a low owner occupation rate because many owners leave. They know sooner or later, as the CBD grows, it's going to take over this land. You understand? And they know they'll sell the land for a high price. So what do? They move out. They bring renters in who came in from rural-urban migration, etc. And they then come and live here, okay, pay low rents, but they don't do up the buildings. So that's why we call it a zone of decay or transition zone. Is changing. Plus, it's not in a good condition. The last one is greenbelt, not related to karate. Eh? Right, we talk about geography then, where we actually conserve. We reduce man's ecological footprint. We conserve the vegetation, or we plant, because we need to look at the environment also and conserve the environment. Okay, so that's your green belt, and we're taking it also as a zone because it's getting bigger. The last of the land use zones we find is the rural-urban fringe. You'll see farming here, and you'll see urban functions not suitable for the city or for the urban area. So what happens? They move into this area. It's a mixture of rural and urban functions. So you may have things like a golf course, a sewage system, even a high-income residential area that wants to be away. You will find them down there. The morphology of an area also, in terms of density and buildings, right, will change. You may have a transport that will allow the city to expand or spread out. You have planning. When it's totally planned, you'll see distinct layers in between. That is residential, that is industrial. When it's unplanned, you'll see everything mixed up. Sometimes the city is already developed, and we develop pieces attached to it. All right? Then we have the physical, the underlying rock structure. Remember, we can't build skyscrapers on soft rock, so we have to build them on more solid rock. So the morphology will change there. Those solid rock will have tall buildings, softer rock, shorter buildings. So all that will change. Right, like for instance here. If you look at here, we've got the tall buildings, which is your CBD, high in demand. And as we move out, it changes in height. All right? It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay? Now, because the land value is higher here, therefore the buildings are taller. And as we move out of it, the height decreases because the land is less expensive. Okay, so vertical heights of buildings, in terms of space, density, will be more here and less there. I'm shooting my time, Looney, so I'm going to make a stop, and I'm going to let them have some water. I'm sure they're thirsty after all this
Okay, cool.
information.
All right.
Okay.
Mindset is go get yourself some water and some juice, and I'll see you straight after this. Hi guys, welcome back from the break. Quick congratulations goes out to Kinechuku Modebelu. You have won yourself this awesome Casio calculator. It's coming to you very soon, so relax, have fun, enjoy your prize. Well done to you, Dave.
Kine is going to get an A for MAPOL calculations.
Oh, okay.
Given condition that he gets an A.
Okay.
Otherwise you're not giving him the calculator.
Okay.
Okay, strong command.
Okay, Dave.
Okay, let's look at some of the questions. All right, there's far more information regarding this, which you can look at. You can download it from Mindset, and there's more on the models, etc. All right, fortunately we have time limitations, but I have put it there, so please have a look at it. But what I'd like to go in now is not more detail in all the content, but is to look at some of the questions. I hope you're ready. You're not going to let the teacher down? All right. So let's look at the first question that we have down here. Okay. Refer to the pictures below. And once again, I'm emphasizing, learners, many people talk about trigger happy. We're too question happy. Read the instructions again and answer the questions that follow. So we see the pictures. Immediately, Anele Tsepo and Isetu, we can sort of identify this. We just discussed it. Okay, what land use zone is this? If you look at it. Tall buildings, they're close. What would you say it is?
It's the CBD.
CBD, the Central Business District. Eh? But this gives us a top view of a piece of land. I want you to look at this and look clearly through these areas here. Can you see what's happening here?
Yes.
Eh? Sepo, you want to take a chance here? We're seeing a street pattern here. Eh?
Yes, sir.
What do you say it
I'd
is?
say gridiron.
Gridiron or rectangular. So pictures give us a lot when we even study and for testing purposes. Okay? And you need to speak louder. You must feel shy. I know your girlfriend is on there, Sepo. That's why you actually speaking so softly. So we do have an idea. Is there any other information? Sepo, don't look at the lady down here. Please focus on the question. There's no other information. So we interpreted the information. Let's look at the questions. Identify the land use zone, which you have already worked out. You understand? Represent it and give a reason for your answer. And you guys have already done that. And when you look at it here, it is the CBD. Right, let me get my pen again. The CBD, it has tall buildings and the building density is very high. So we could give one answer. Now people, just remember this when you're doing your work at home. The CBD for identifying nowadays is 1 mark. Okay, it has tall buildings, and that would be giving a reason is 2 marks. Remember we changed when you're looking at those old papers. That has changed now, and that would give you 3 marks. All right, if you had to give one reason. Let's look at the next question. Identify the street pattern. We've already worked it out by looking at the resource. Isn't that fantastic? All right, so if we look at the street pattern, as we know already, press here, I've done, learners, can you see I made sure I didn't miss my black arrow? All right, so if we look at it here, the grid iron pattern, which we worked out. All right, following question, the street pattern shown in figure B is generally found in the land use represented by figure A. Give 3 reasons for an answer like that. Just takes it a little higher, high order. And then you want to give it a try.
Okay.
A bit of a sticky one, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be in the CBD, and it would be because it has shorter routes.
Okay.
Yes. And
So let's see. You talk about shorter routes.
Yes.
Let's check. All right. Okay. It can be easily extended. Remember, the CBD is growing into the transition zone, learners. So what is happening now? We need something that's easy to extend. And well done. Shorter distances. You what a good teacher. Right, shorter distances, and it also makes it easier to find, especially in this concrete jungle, the CBD itself, learners. You need to find things quickly because you can't turn. The traffic is full. Correct, well done. Right, let's look at the next one. The street pattern shown in figure B also creates problems. All right? Also creates problems. Can you see it? In the land use zone, represented by figure A. Explain 2 of these problems. You understand? It also creates problems. Can you see, if we just study, learners, and we just study the notes, this is gridiron, this is radial, this is the land use zones, and if we don't integrate them, these questions will hold more marks. Like for instance here, when it talks about giving 3 reasons, you give or you explain, it's 6 marks. So if you know the pattern, so what? You're only getting 1 mark. Here also explain 2 of these problems. Right, let's look at it. I see Setu, you looking excited about looking at this. Right, tell me any of the problems.
So because there's a lot of intersections, there'll be a higher traffic congestion.
Yes, the intersections. We're using the problem with gridiron into the problem of an urban area. And that's what it is. It's integrating stuff. Tepo, you looking happy? Ornella, do you want to give it a chance there? What else? Or someone, one of you?
I'll try. Because of the many shorter routes and the robots, it can be fuel consuming.
Fuel consuming, right? So it's creating that plus. What about anything else you want to add?
road frustration.
Road frustration. So we take all those answers related to the gridiron pattern and apply it here. But we're applying it to a situation. I can even change it to the urban area. What problems it creates in the urban area. Can you see it, learners? So it's very, very important that we look at that. Right, it creates traffic congestion. Now let me get my pen again. Traffic congestion, it would cause more accidents. Congestion could result in frustration, wastage of petrol, and all those are 2 marks. All right? Let's go on. I think I'm going to extend my page and then go to the next one. Let's check this out, the inner city. All right, question 2. Yo, Luni, I'm improved with this, man.
Yes, you know how to use it now.
I'm impressed, learners. I'm sure you're impressed. All right, it says, refer to figure below, a town in South Africa, and answer the questions that follow. the only clue that's given here about a town in South Africa. So what we look at here, we're looking at the side view of a city. What do we call a side view of a city?
Urban
Something like a
profile.
class. The urban profile. Learners, you knew that. The side view of the city is the urban profile. All right. What do we look again? We can look at height. We can look at density. And density, height here is lower. We look at density, there's gaps. And as you move out, the density decreases. It's your work that you learned in class, which you have to apply in this case. All right? Let's look at the questions then. Define the term urban profile. And then you're happy you said it already.
Yeah.
We're never going to ask you again. All right. We know already, learners, and you know at home also. It is the side view. Okay? It's a view of the urban area from the side, or it is a side view. And this is quite nice. We said side view, and now we say view of an urban area from the side. Is there a difference?
No.
Remember when you check your memos, learners, there's always a word known as concept that's written next to it. Ah, there goes my writing again. Concept. That means you can explain it in different words as long as the meaning is the same. That's when you see that word concept, but I'm sure your geography teachers told you about them. All right, so both is correct. Let's look at this. The establishment of greenbelt areas is important to a city. Greenbelt areas important to any city. Now, we're just not straight greenbelt, but we want to relate it to the urban area. All right, why is this important? Any of you want to take a chance quickly? Why is greenbelt areas important? Does it teach everybody karate? What does it do?
I'd say, sir, for the people in the urban areas working
Yes.
in the CPDs, they might maybe need some relaxation.
Yeah,
in
you
the
like the
parks.
relaxation, which is correct also. It's one of the smaller factors sometimes we don't look at, but you're correct. You understand? Where we could look at relaxation, plus it could give us cooler temperatures, it cools the city down, an aesthetic appeal. It creates a buffer zone between different activities, industries, and the businesses. You know, sometimes you get a park, it's very quiet, you get out the noise. So yes, there's various things that you could look at here. All right? Get that? Okay, it helps produce oxygen, and that is your 2 marks. It is used for people to relax, Sebo, your idea. It uses office parks for peaceful environment, safe haven for animals also. Look, I like the animals. So it's safety for them also. All right, next one. How will the land value differ from the inner city to the outskirts? Remember we did a little theory? And we did the other one where we showed you that little graph. Here we've got a different diagram and we're asking it in a different question. We're just relating it to South Africa, being the context of South Africa. But I'm sure you already worked that out. All right, how will the land value differ from the inner city, which is on the inside, to the outside? How will the land value differ? Anybody want to take a chance?
The land is cheaper on the outskirts.
Yes, the land value is cheaper. But learners, you know that the land value is cheaper because the demand for land in the center, in the CBD, I wouldn't use the word center, which is more centrally located, actually, because people want to be there, business want to be there, land value is high, so the density is high and the height is high. But as you go further away, this decreases. All right, let's check the answer. And yes, it becomes cheaper. Okay? Now that just asks you for how the land value differs, and it's cheaper. If it's just one word, it would be 1 mark. All right? Congestion in cities is a major problem. Name 2 ways in which cities can reduce traffic congestion. Guys, notice how many different factors in one question. And you can take questions from different sections, but how many different factors in one question that we went through? Traffic congestion, you know, slow moving traffic. So how is this a major problem? Name 2 ways in which cities can reduce. And then you want to take a chance. I see you
Okay.
excited.
If we could improve our public transport, then people would use less cars and more public
Yes,
transport.
public transport. All right, we improve it. We improve the condition of our taxis, etc. And people will use it if they're more regular on time. People will use it. So that's one of them, and there's various other issues that we can look at in traffic congestion. Staggered times, you start in different times. You understand? Also people walking to areas, okay, instead of always using vehicles. There's so many different ways. I've got a few here. All right, improve public, did you ever look at when I was prepping this? I mean, that you know this one straight away. All right, rear wire, that's an example. I know there's a debate about this. That means we're not going to get on it on television where it's effective, but that's one of the solutions. Lift clubs, okay. Fines for people who only drive in one car, which is a bit of a difficult concept, but it can be imposed. But we spoke about carpools. There's so many different ways in which we can handle this. All right, the next question, edge cities. All right, these are cities that are falling off. These are edge cities. Now you some of you may not come across the concept, but it's a new concept that has come through. What are edge cities? I know your teacher covered this in class. What is an edge city? Take a chance.
Wouldn't it be a city found at the edge of an urban area?
Yeah. So why would we call it? It's not such like a full city. What actually happens here, guys, is that in this area, what happens here is that functions decentralize. You got a mall. You understand? You got functions around there. You got banks. So residential areas group around that, and when they group around that, it actually releases some of the pressure on the main city. So it's like a little thing on the outside. You understand? Of the urban area that keeps people there. Many of us don't move to the CBD anymore, isn't it? Because we've got all our functions in our area, and we don't have to go to the city. So edge cities, if you look at this, are large residential areas with shopping centers, all right, schools, businesses, offices, parks. You understand? Example sentence. It's got everything. You understand? That's what we talk about, edge cities. All right. A lot of businesses migrate from the CBD to these so-called edge cities for various reasons. Therefore, urban renewal is a focus of many cities around the world. Urban renewal, let's look at it. What is urban renewal? It's renewing of the city, isn't it? Where you do up the buildings. You have invasion and succession where one function takes over another. Or you do up the residential areas, you change them. I know in Johannesburg, anybody seen it? Let's see if you can know which place in Johannesburg. Newtown has been undergoing urban renewal. I know many of the cities out there would be undergoing urban renewal in terms of changing things. Also changing functions from residential to business, okay? Or sometimes old business blocks get dropped and blocks of flats come up. So urban renewal, when we renewing the area. So let's look at it. Private and public partnerships are formed to bring investment back, all right? But as I mentioned, it actually renews the area. Different strategies involved of doing up the area, all right? Discuss how government and business have supported the renewal in our major cities like Cape Town and Johannesburg. Not that if you don't live there, your city is not important. It is. All right, let's look at how they went about doing that, all right, in our areas. Do you all want to take a chance? You all live in Johannesburg?
Yes.
By cleaning up.
Yes, cleaning up, renovating. You understand? There's various ways. We talk about fanatism. We talk about gentrification that has been happening in this area. Right, let's look at it here. We talk about cleaning up the areas, okay, which create zero tolerance of these areas where we don't allow crime, so businesses get invested. We talk about cultural projects which will attract business. We want to see some South African culture there. You understand? Or wherever we are. You understand? Which will attract initiatives to kickstart development. Like for instance, business comes in and offers things, the government also promotes it. Opportunities for homeless people also to get maybe RDP houses, etc. and or houses of cheaper flats so that we clean up the area. Because you must remember, we just can't move homeless people. They also have a need, and we have to look after them. Okay, so there are various options that we have here. Learners, I know with all this information again, now you're very thirsty. So get a glass of water and come back as quick as possible.
All right, mindsetters, before we go to a break, I'd just like to send a shout out to Tebogo and Isaac Sakamela. And he says that without you, Dave, he wouldn't be passing geography. So he thanks you for your lessons.
I'm happy it's making a difference.
So mindsetters, with that said, let's take a very quick break and we'll see you straight after this. Welcome back, guys, from that break. I hope you guys are enjoying the lesson. Please send us your questions on Facebook and on Twitter. Dave.
Thanks, Lily, and thanks, learners, for the response. It actually tells us that we're doing something that's right. I think that's most important. All right, let's look at the challenge question now. I don't want to see whether you'll get it, but I know most geographers will get it. They're bright people. All right, in the past, let's look at this. The policy of apartheid, especially the Group Areas Act, determined how people in or how South African cities looked. We know it was based on racial segregation between the different racial groups. All right, recently this has changed, mainly in the middle and higher income areas. Explain the state. So we had this racial division that was created with the Group Areas Act. All right, and if you know, this is a sort of question, learners, where you have to relate reality with your knowledge of geography. Excuse me. All right, so that comes through clearly. Think about it. Would you all like to think about it? What actually made the change here?
Okay, can I try it?
You can try it.
Since you said that the Group Areas Act separated people
Yes.
by the color of their skin,
Yes.
but now since there have been projects in uplifting the people, so people with the same wealth and like economic structures can live in the same area now, unlike before where no matter how much you earn, you
Yes,
stay in
well
the same
done,
area.
well done, well done, guys. Because now you notice what's happening. And remember, I emphasize middle and higher. It's not so much happening on the lower income areas. You understand? People are now moving. If you look at areas just a few years back, you would have said this is more predominantly a certain racial group. Now it's mixed. People who earn the same amount of money are living in those areas. You understand? And somebody earns a lower salary is living together with the people. So we move from the racial more to the economic status of the people. Correct, 100%. Let's look at the example now, the answer. So what has happened here? It has changed from people of the same race living together to the people with the same economic status living together. People of all races who earn the similar amounts of money will have similar amounts of wealth, and they live together or have similar amounts of wealth. But I'm sure 90% or even 100% of you got it because you are brilliant. Right, thank you for the answer. Luni, is there any questions?
Yes, we have one question here.
Yes.
From Atengosi, where is the rural urban fringe located in relation to the city?
The rural urban fringe. Right, I did show you a photograph, but I just want to create a little sketch here. Here we have our city. Okay? All right? That city looks nice. There we go again, and I was so proud of myself. But that is a city. All right? Now, as we go towards the end of the city, okay? Now, imagine things like golf, which needs quiet. There you're in the center of the city and you're playing golf and you're about to hit the ball, and there's somebody who hooters the truck, disturbs you. As disposal, waste disposal, or sewage disposal works. You understand? You don't want it to be next to your house. It's on the outskirts. So as we move out of the city, remember this is a city. This is the rural area here. all right? And in this area, we move certain functions out. So it's the area immediately around the city, which is the rural area. That's where the rural-urban fringe is. So it's a rural area with urban functions such as airport, golf course, sewage works. You understand? And you even get things like high-income areas. Of course, they won't be next to the sewage works, but they'll be here because they want large land, scenery. I hope that answers your question. Is there anything else? Nothing at all.
Nothing at the moment.
All right. Would you want to ask anything, you guys, that you're not sure about at the moment?
So can we go through the models? Especially,
models?
yes.
Okay.
the one-
Okay, let's look at the models. I think I have a question somewhere here, all right, regarding the models. Let me go through this and through this. Yes, I do have a question here regarding the models. Now, learners, you would have picked up that you would and studied different types of models. Okay, you've done the concentric zone model, you've done the multiple nuclei model, all right, and you've done the sector model. Now, very interesting. Let's look at this question. Let me just draw a little sketch of the sector model here. Remember we said in the sector model, all right, by Hoyt, they said the city develops in sectors, all right, where we have maybe the high income area dictates the position of all the other land use zones. We'll have the middle income, the low income, all right, and then we have the industrial areas, and the low income is situated there. I'm sure I just did a little revision for you to know that we got one more model. But let's look at what you've got here in our question. All right, it says, refer to the diagram below and answer the questions that follow. Okay, urban land use zone, of course, how the land is being used. Here in this question, it gave you 3 or 2 different models. Now let's see if you can identify. One spoke about the CBD in the center and all the areas where there are concentric circles. Can you see it? All right, concentric zones leading out to the low income, or here it's known as the working class. I do not like that word, but that's what the model used. I like low income. Okay, the working class, the middle class, the higher class, all situated out of the city. What model is that?
Burgess.
Burgess's
Concentric.
concentric zone model. Yes, the concentric, all right, zone model. All right, and this one is the multiple nuclei model, because it shows you that here it said only the CBD where it settles. You understand? And that is your important zone. And after that, everything settles around the CBD, the low income, the middle income, the high income. These guys, the multiple nuclei model, says there are various nuclei, not only the CBD. That means in this area, which could be heavy industry, you understand, down here, the nuclei that will attract the heavy industry could be your transport networks, could be your water supply, okay? What we'll have, here we've got the CBD. What do you think will attract the CBD? Let's see if you can get this.
The light industries.
Beside the light industries, what will be the main thing? Accessibility, isn't it? Where the roads meet down here, and the CBD will want to be there. A rich area, the high income areas, what will attract them? What will attract them to the area?
The aesthetic
The
appeal.
aesthetic appeal, the parks. So this one said there are various nuclei that attract people to an area. You understand? Let's look at the questions. Identify the land use models A and B. Can you see? We call this scaffolding questions, learners. We start from the easier, which lets you use this, and then we go to a higher order question. Let's look at this. All right, quickly. And Looney, if there's any important question that's coming through, you let me know, we'll make a stop.
It's just one more.
Yeah.
It's from Katlaho. What is suburbanization?
Suburbanization is where the urban area is moving off to the suburbs. Like for instance, you've got in your suburbs at the moment, son, is where you have all the little facilities that you need. You got your shops, you got your, for the ladies, you got your Edgar's, your machinery, you understand? For the males, you got the hardware store, you understand, you got your bank, so you don't have to move now. It's actually commercial decentralization where it's moving out to, right, suburbs. You realize that how often really do we have to go to the city or the CBD?
Yeah.
We do all our shopping.
One more.
Okay.
It's from Atenkosi again. What is the role of green? I'm not getting this word. I think it's bits in pollution control.
Green belt. I think that's
Oh,
what
he
young
wanted
man
to write
is talking
belts.
about.
Okay.
Green belt. Right? I'm sorry, learners, that I'm disturbing, but I can always do this in school with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
I think we need to go through that first. Green belt in pollution.
Yes.
Remember, green belt, plants. All right? What do plants take in during the day?
Carbon
Carbon
dioxide.
dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. Yes, he said. And what do they give off?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Hey, you're good in life science.
Yeah.
They give off oxygen. So already it's purifying the air. You understand? Through green belt. Also, it makes it more comfortable. You realize that, Lou? Look at your trees. Because what actually happens, more trees will absorb heat for, let's see the life science. What does it do? I know it's
Photosynthesis.
photosynthesis. So it even lowers the temperature, but it reduces the pollution.
Okay, that's
Can I-
all. You
sure?
can carry on.
Okay, sorry guys that I'm jumping from there, but I wanted to answer those questions. So let's go back to our model. And I'm sorry about that, learners. All right, we've got the concentric zone and the multiple nuclei. So we worked out the first. A is concentric zone model. B is your multiple nuclei model. Okay, learners? Right. And obviously we looked at it here. Now, a question like this, learners, you're going to get, because we asked you to identify, you'll get 1 mark each. That's it. Don't look at, remember those past papers? You'll have to change them to 1 mark if it's listing and naming, etc. 3.2, explain 2 criticisms of the land use model A. Model A we spoke about here. Remember we emphasized CBD in the center, there's land use zones, right? So we're saying criticisms, we're taking it a little higher. Now learners, you always question yourself when you're looking at things. Maybe the exam guideline doesn't talk much about criticism, but you always think ahead, because this could be a higher order question for the thinkers. You understand? But you guys are thinkers, not stinkers. I know this. See, I'm a bit of both also. All right, so you think ahead. You guys want to take a chance?
The central business district doesn't have to be in the middle.
I agree with you. It doesn't have to be right in the middle. Where does it have to be again? In the area of accessibility. So correct. The CBD does not have to be in the center. It can be slightly off, it can be centrally located. But if all the transport routes meet here, the CBD is there. What else could be a criticism?
Development could take place along transport.
Yes, transport routes, 100%. You show no transport routes, and that's a reality, isn't it?
Yes.
The transport routes happen. Learners, you see what's happening here. We're taking reality that we can visualize and applying it to the theory. So there are various criticisms that are here. All right, and I'll show it to you now. CBD does not always occur right in the center. All right, it does not consider development along transport routes, which happens. This is 2 marks each, high order. Does not consider decentralization, that all the businesses are not always in the center, it can be on the outside. All right, I'm going to do one more little one here. Let's see, explain how land use B is considered more applicable to cities in South Africa compared to land use model A. Land use B said separate nuclear. Land use model didn't. I'm going to answer this because we're running out of time. I know you're enthusiastic. Okay, let's look at it quickly. If we look at it, in South Africa we have different land use zones, and development occurs around different nuclei, not around the CBD only. We've got bulk transport, we've got those areas, and that one state, it occurs around a single nuclei. I'm sorry, learners, we've run out of time. And I want to wish you well with all your study. Till next week.
All right, thank you, Dave, for the lesson. Guys, do you want to send any shout-outs to any of your friends, your family?
I'd just like to send a shout out to my family and everyone in Monyo High School.
Yeah. That's it.
Yes.
You know?
The same. I'd like to say shout out to all my classmates.
Okay.
Hey to all my friends.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Not for tuning in, for joining us in studio. And at home, thank you for tuning in and for watching Geography with us on a Thursday. Until next time, goodbye from us.